First-time speakers, Ms. Wales.
Ellen Wells, Woodbridge Avenue, Edison. I have some questions about the developers agreement. That's something that the council passed an ordinance requiring, and is that right?
Mr. Laird.
Council President, we have an ordinance on the books that requires all developers' agreements
Okay.
to come to the council by
Okay,
resolution.
thank you. That's all I want to know. Now, does that, before we had that, all we had was whatever the planning board had approved, and that the developers agreement's purpose was to kind of memorialize that once it had already been put together, so now the council had a record of everything that was involved in it?
Actually, no. Before we had the ordinance, there were no developers' agreements done.
No, but with the developers agreement, basically what it does is to incorporate or memorialize whatever the planning board has agreed to, or whatever, all the stipulations or what have you.
What was agreed to?
Yeah.
Right, that's what it is, okay?
But it does more. It does more. It does more. It includes township code issues regarding blasting, hours of operation. It goes way beyond just the resolution. The resolution's attached as an exhibit, but it goes beyond that.
I mean, the agreement itself, the actual, who approves the agreement?
I do. The agreement
No, after it's all done, you say this is it, or does it have to be approved by or accepted by the council or
has to
someone?
be accepted by resolution.
By the council?
Correct.
Well, I have problems understanding the delay with Hearts. I have a problem. Why is there such a delay if the council and Hearts were able to work something out and came to some agreement to agree, or whatever they call it? What's the holdup in the developer's agreement?
Council President, that's a different issue. That's a redevelopment project that was approved. This council approved the redevelopment plan. It then went to the redevelopment attorney to negotiate the redevelopment plan. The redeveloper agreement, that's not something I handle. That's done through special counsel, the redevelopment council.
What's the difference between the redevelopment agreement and then whatever you're talking about that has to come after that?
Well, whenever there's...
Well, is Mr. Baumann going to show up at any of these things so we can have answer to some of these questions? Is he getting paid to do this?
Handsomely.
Yes, he's...
Well, I would seriously, I would like the council to have him come to a meeting. In fact, I think he said, sitting right there, when you're ready for him, let me know and I'll be here. And then the next meeting, he was supposed to be here by 9 o'clock or something, was that? He didn't come? But I don't know if anybody told him, but I wish you would do that, please. Because this delay with Hearts is ridiculous. Somebody's holding up something somewhere. I think there are negotiations being held beyond the council, and the council already came to some agreement. So I'm very concerned about that. Now, the next thing, I got to go fast. I don't want 6 minutes to get away from me. On the Thomas Alva Edison Park, that's state property, right? And they lease it to Edison. Didn't we renew the lease? Was it last year? When was the lease finally renewed?
Council President, are you talking about the tower site?
I'm talking about the whole site.
Yes, we did that about a year and a half ago. We adopted that by ordinance. We approved the renewal for, I believe it was a 20-year period.
Oh, it's 20 years, okay. All right, now, at one time I asked, and actually, well, I'm not going to go that route. I asked what the relationship was between, I'm all for everything that's going on. I'm just concerned with legalities here. I asked what the relationship was between the nonprofit corporation, Edison Memorial, whatever it is, corporation, and the township. And initially, I was led to believe that the township was going to enter into some agreement with the nonprofit. I asked at another meeting, and it's on tape, and the answer I got, I was confused. Because, Mr. Lair, you said that you had turned the work over to the judge who was on the board for review, and I thought you meant whatever agreement you were going to work out with the nonprofit. But actually, the only thing that was in place was the renewal of the state, with the state. So I don't know, it triggered again because the mayor at the, now it's the mayor's tour, it's no longer the Green Group, right? It's the mayor's gets the credit for this bicycle tour. He told the people that, he called it the tower, the Memorial Tower Board. And I said, what board's he talking about? Maybe they did create a board, but I think he was talking about the board of trustees of the nonprofit. What's the relationship between the township and the state and the nonprofit? What's the legal status of that?
Council President, let me just try to explain it in as simple terms as I can. We have an agreement with the state to lease their land. We are negotiating a sublease with the Edison Memorial Tower Corporation, a 501c3 corporation. That sublease is in the process of being finalized. I will present it to the council, which will then have to be approved by ordinance. Now, they cannot occupy or use the property. They are in the fundraising process right now, and we are cooperating with them in that venture. But we will enter into ultimately a sublease arrangement, which has to be approved by the state, by the way. The sublease cannot merely just be a document we prepare. It has to be approved by the state because it requires their consent.
Isn't this kind of premature? How can they receive money if they had no authorization, no official authorization to do any of this? It's in process. Doesn't the other come first?
They certainly have the right to ask for proposals for the renovation. They certainly have the right to raise funding. They've asked for funding from the state as well. They have the right to do that. They're an independent entity.
Oh, I know. I can't see the state giving money to a group that doesn't have any official authorization yet.
Well,
all right, my time is up. I heard the bell.
Thank
But
you.
I have a problem with that.
Thank you. Yes, sir?